Hey, Miss Elsa.
Hey, Elsa, how you doing?
Water, anyone?
Nah, we good.
I like your outfit, Grandpa.
This is Rebecca Leopard that works for me.
How you doing, Miss Rebecca? Pleasure. Yes, ma'am.
Nice to meet you. Hi.
How you doing, Adin?
Hi, Rebecca. Nice to meet you. Hi.
Yeah, this is actually my first time ever here, man.
Thanks for coming out.
Yeah.
Welcome. I talked to, Derwin the Lamb.
Yeah, that's my boy.
His little girl goes to school with my kids.
Okay, yeah. Oh, yeah, Coach Lamb. That's my boy, man.
Well, grab a seat, man, and tell me what you all got in mind and how you want to do this. Obviously, I want to tell you more about Hope Farm. I want you to interact with some of these kids. Meet the young men that are part of this program.
Yeah, for sure.
So I travel around the country a lot, right? So I deal with a lot of inner city black and brown youth, right? So, but also a lot of Caucasian kids, but predominantly black and brown. So he's big in the culture, right? So most of our children know who AdinRoss is.
Yes. This is true.
Yeah. So even the hood kids. So because of my relationship with Tegan, right?
Yeah.
I met several kids who came through this program through this old man here, Pops, right? So Miss Nikki's son was part of the fishbowl roundup.
Okay.
So that's how I found out about Tegan. So years later, someone tell Tegan about me, and we end up meeting and developing a great bond and relationship. So I know the history around the Hope Forum, right?
Sure.
So while me and Pops was doing our work in Stop 6, the Hope Forum was doing this over on the south side, and I never managed to cross paths with anybody from Hope Forum until now. So when Adin came to the city, I know what his presence, what this visit would do just for the kids in this community.
First time in Dallas, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, so I have a question. Is this Dallas or Fort Worth?
sir.
Fort Worth.
No, sir.
No, it's Fort Worth.
What's the difference?
It's stuck up. That's what
It's a big difference. It's a
So
big difference.
is it two different cities?
Yeah, two different cities.
Yeah, we're about 30 miles. Downtown is about 30 miles.
So downtown is called Dallas. Outside of downtown is called Fort Worth.
No. So you got Dallas, then you have Arlington is other major city in the middle. The airport where you probably came in through DFW? Or
Yeah, they came through DFW.
Yeah, so DFW is almost right smack dab in the middle of Fort Worth and Dallas.
Okay.
But literally, and when I first moved here, because I grew up overseas, a lot of people, when I first moved
Where'd you grow up?
I grew up in Panama. I grew up in Central America.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow.
So you probably know some Panamanians if you're from Miami.
I'm going to be honest. I don't even know where that is. Wait.
Yeah, my
it's in
jeweler's
Central?
Panamanian, black and Panamanian. Yeah, his dad Panamanian, yeah.
Yeah, Central America, 9 degrees north of the equator.
Gotcha.
So tropic, no winter. That was a thing for me when I moved here.
Yeah.
But a lot of Panamanians, when they leave and go to school, they go to Florida.
Gotcha. Yeah. You been in Florida before?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My high school reunion is in Orlando.
Oh, nice.
Florida.
Yeah.
Some of my good friends live in Miami.
Yeah.
So my whole intent was just to shine a light on the Hope Forum program, because I know it's going to get a lot of views, and so
Well,
I think this would
I'm
make great
glad
content.
You did that. And I got a book for you. That
Okay.
Tegan wanted me to give
It's actually your book.
Oh,
I'm telling you a book about this place.
Really?
Yeah. So man, this lone police officer, one white police officer, went into a gang neighborhood and brought down 53 notorious gang members.
He took him down?
All by himself. So he didn't have no backup, no nothing.
Crazy.
So this is one cop that did this. Ultimately, he went back to the department and wanted to change what the impact that he saw this arrest had made. So out of these 53 gangsters, it was 112 children who was left without their fathers and mothers.
Wow, that's crazy.
So he helped build this program.
Yeah, so I'll tell
So
you.
that's basically the curation behind making this program?
Yeah.
No, so the program was here, but Life in the Fishbowl, that's this neighborhood. Or real close to this neighborhood.
Gotcha.
So what we do, we're a leadership program for boys who don't have fathers.
Yeah.
So when he sent these guys to jail, he's like, okay, byproduct is I just sent a bunch of fathers to jail. So he wrote the book, and the proceeds from the sale of the book benefit Hope Farm.
I understand.
So the book went pretty, I don't know if it was viral. I don't know if you
Yeah,
saw the
it
book going
done pretty
viral,
good.
But it got a lot of attention. And because of that, we've had a lot of people who know about Tegan and now know about Hope Farm.
No, it's awesome. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's good to kind of cross it over into kind of my world, because I'm gonna be honest. Thank you. My generation, we don't read books. Well, I don't. I've never read a book in my life.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
But this is great.
You shitting me? You ain't never read a book?
I read one book, Night by Elliot Weasel.
Yeah, man. Mark Twain says a man who won't read is no better than a man who can't read.
What does that mean?
Think about that. A man who won't read is no better than a man who can't read.
I got you. You read books?
All the time. So if I take you...
You read too?
I got kids. I don't have the time to read.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you. Even before I had kids, I hadn't read a good book in a long time.
Yeah. So I'm like you then. We read.
I got a whole bookshelf of books at the house, yeah. I had somebody come put my bookshelf up so I can put my books up.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. I'll give this a look, for sure.
Please.
Well, tell me more about your story, man, because obviously I'm an older generation, but these kids definitely know who you are.
Honestly, I'll touch base a little bit, but from you kind of break it down a little bit, because I don't know how you tell me to other people.
I describe him as the one of the world's biggest streamers. I don't know anybody outside of this kid that's bigger than Disney or Nickelodeon. So those are entities, right?
Yeah.
Nickelodeon, Disney are entities. Well, this kid by himself and a few other streamers are just as big as those entities, just their names alone. So there's probably not a kid on. You probably would have to go to North Korea to find a kid who don't know who he is, right? So the impact that I saw he had within our culture, he has an influence, and he has a platform, and he has the mind, the hearts, and the ears of millions of young people. So I saw it as a great benefit to partner and collab with him, to show a different side of just maybe what we would think corny content for our children, and it bridges the gap between the young and old. So I'm the uncle who stands in the gap between the young and old, who doesn't know anything about him, and he has nothing. He don't know anything about what he's taught. So I'm bridging the gap with this.
That's great.
Yeah,
that's great. And I'll tell you a little bit more. So the program is the leadership program for boys who don't have fathers. So these kids come here as young as 5 years old.
Wow.
All the way up through high school graduation. We try to hang on to them that long. We're an after-school program.
Got it. So basically every day after school they come here.
They come here. We pick them up. Because a lot of these kids, they don't have the means, or if they have a mom who has a job, she may not have a job that has the flexibility to bring their kid after school program.
Yeah, it makes sense. And how long are they here every day?
So Aiden, we'll pick them up. The young kids start getting here probably right about now, 3:30, and they're here till around 7 o'clock when the mom picks them up. But when they get here, they get a snack. We have Bible study for the kids every day.
I love that. That's great.
We have a reading program. And if you look at statistics around here, we're in the 76104 zip code.
Yeah.
And this has the lowest life expectancy in the entire state.
Yeah.
Why is that?
Question.
Food desert, a lack of prenatal care, lack of resources and accesses to you talking about just no nutrition. There's not a grocery store around here, so there's no fresh produce. There's no whole food markets. And
I'll tell you, the most ironic part about that statement, all the major hospitals are also in the same zip code.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we could get in a car and we'd be at a hospital in 3 minutes. Damn. So you got a lot of conditions like diabetes, hypertension, but then violence is also a big issue.
Well, that's why I brought the old man, right? So when we was talking about the old man club that he had, Texas nigga, that was right in this area. So mostly all of those old gangsters that was arrested in this arrest were the young guys that he would give jobs to.
Gotcha. So Grandpa, your club was right here, basically.
Off Evans and Rosedale, your club.
Yeah.
Okay, so your club was right here, and so this is where you grew up.
I grew up all over Fort Worth, and I've opened up places of business all over Fort Worth. Now, at this particular time, this is in the 80s. This is in the 80s when I had the club down on the corner of Evans and Rosedale and called it Texas Nigga. And I had to go to the penitentiary and spend 30 years for that sign. When I come back from the penitentiary, the Fed wouldn't allow me on Evans and Rosedale. I couldn't open a place up on Evans and Rosedale because Evans and Rosedale was kind of like where I wrote my book at, my story. So the Fed wouldn't allow me to be on Evans and Rosedale when I come back. So when I got off for, I wasn't off for parole. When I got off for parole, no, I opened up a place in Stop 6 called Classy Lady. It was designed for one thing. It was designed to be a place where you can come and eat and enjoy yourself and gamble, because I'm a gambler.
Yeah, I love to gamble too.
Therefore, I wanted to be a gambling spot. I didn't want no church. I didn't want no school. I didn't want none of that, because I didn't want to ride all the way to Oklahoma to gamble, because I done got a little old. So I opened up me a place at Classy Lady, and then that's why I met him at Classy Lady. But the place that I had on the corner of Evans and Rosedale, Texas nigga, straight gangster.
And so these were mostly all these kids on this side of town.
All of these kids, we didn't teach kids how to sell drugs. We gave kids money and sent kids to school, and we wouldn't allow the kids to sell no drugs. In '83, when a lot of us went to the penitentiary, then the older guys gave the drugs to the kids. And the kids didn't have nobody at home to take care of them and feed them, so therefore they're going to try to make them some money. This is when Fort Worth was a drug city in a drug state. So when I come back in '91, I open up on the corner of Evans and Rosedale, Weasel's International Sandwich Shop. So then I had to go back to the penitentiary again for aggravated assault on a police officer, and I lost everything.
Damn.
So when I went to Oklahoma, down there gambling in Oklahoma, because I didn't have anything to do, so I opened up me a spot in Stop 6. Well, when I opened up a spot in Stop 6, that was Classy Lady. And we gambled there. That's all we did there was gamble. What they did outdoors was their business. It wasn't none of my business. The feds said I'm going to sell drugs again. They had to be crazy. What I look like selling drugs again. They say everybody that went to the federal penitentiary.
Because you already got caught doing it.
Yeah.
They say everybody that went to the federal penitentiary, when they come out, they got to sell drugs again. Why? Because drugs was the only thing gave us that lifestyle. You got to remember, this is a segregated state. This is an agriculture state. So it wasn't no ways to make it's hard any ways to make a lot of money in Fort Worth.
Wait, so touching back, so you said it's a segregated state. So when you were going to school, did you have to go to a different school?
When I was going to school, I went to school in Stop 6. I kept and when I moved to the south side, when you move to the south side, then you got to change schools because you're in that district.
Yeah.
Well, when I was in the Iron Turtle district, I didn't use my mother's name address. I used my granny's address so I could stay at the school that I was at and stop.
You got to think the Jim Crow signs didn't come down to 64. So you got to think about Dr. King and them. So he was born long before Dr. King started marching. So he's born in 45.
Wow. Wait, when was Dr. King born?
Probably a little bit before, but they didn't start marching to the 60s. So you got to think this. The 1964 civil rights legislation was 64.
You knew you knew Dr. King?
Huh?
You knew Dr. King?
I heard Dr. King in my grandma's house because every Sunday you hear that. And I'm a kid, and I heard Dr. King.
Oh, so I'm saying he knew your grandma?
Huh?
Dr. King knew your grandma?
No.
Oh, that's right.
He said on Sunday, all black people would listen to Dr. King's sermons on the radio.
I hear it from you. Okay.
And things like that, and I heard him preaching on the radio, and things like that. But when I was in Vietnam, it was different. Dr. King and they movement and things like that. Well, I'm too young to know anything about that. I'm just out in the streets, just doing things that little boys ain't supposed to do. A wild little boy, just doing stealing, robbing, selling dope, everything, burglarizing and everything. And I'm just doing these things, and I had to go to jail for doing those things because I didn't want to be like mom and daddy. I didn't want to go to work. And then plus I wasn't educated to make no money being educated, so I just kind of like took I had a mentor in the city. My mentor in this city was named Mr. John Lilly. Mr. John Lilly had places of business, so I kind of like took after him when I come back from the penitentiary and started trying to open up me places of business and give young people jobs. Gambling creates a lot of jobs for people. So I had a lot of people working, you know, and things like that.
And so at the Classy Lady, when he offered his building for me to work with children over in the Stop 6 area, I didn't have what the Hope Forum had. So the Hope Forum had a structured program. So I was a dude with just passion and commitment, want to work with kids, right? So I went from the juvenile system to the community. So I was all in the juvenile system. So I wanted to create programs to prevent. So you got intervention, right? So you got intervention programs. I wanted to create preventative programs to prevent kids from going into, so that's what the Hope Forum is. So the Hope Forum is not just intervention, it's prevention, right? So it prevent kids from going down this path. Gotcha. So I was trying to do preventative, but I didn't have a building. So the old man gave me a building. So while working at this building, it's a gambling shack and an after hour club, but it's crime around it. So in the process of me working there, I meet some of these parents, kids. So I meet some of these people in this book, some of the mothers who boyfriends and baby fathers was arrested. And that's how I found out about this Officer Teagan in the Hope program.
Gotcha.
So he mentioned Stop 6. If you drive probably 5 miles, you're in Stop 6. So it's a neighboring community. But you mentioned this whole prevention. So there were 2 law enforcement officers that started Hope Farm back in the late 80s. One of them was a Fort Worth police officer. His name is Gary Randall. And Gary said he went to visit a prison, saw a lot of African-American youth incarcerated. And when he asked questions, one of the things they had in common was they didn't have fathers in the home. So he thought, well, I can't get these guys out of jail. How can I stop them from going to jail? And that's, like you said, that was the genesis for starting Hope Farm. And you talk about neighborhood violence. So CUNY Luke is a friend of mine, but also a big Hope Farm supporter. He used to do gang stuff. And what you tell me earlier, this is
I don't know what I told you.
probably the murder capital of...
Oh, yeah.
It was for one time.
Yeah, so I actually ran a gang intervention program in the early 90s. And Fort Worth was the deadliest city in the nation at that time.
Which is crazy, because like you said, most people aren't even familiar with Fort Worth.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I don't know.
So this is why I'm bringing you this. This is why I brought you here, because a lot of when I came to the internet, right? So one of your questions when we first met was, well, why is your beef with King Von? Why is your beef with this rapper? That's how I found out about rappers, right? So I didn't know about drill rappers. I didn't know anything about drill rap music until I started working with children in the community and at the schools. So one of my biggest viral moments is when I opposed the rapper Go Yayo for going through the school district. So I got a lot of pushback. So that's what made me start paying attention to young people lyrics, is from doing what the Hope Forum is doing. So you imagine kids coming after school and you hearing what they saying, man, who rapping that shit? And it's all this rapper. So I would go research and look up these rappers. So that's how I found out about drill music and really started opposing rappers based off the kids I was working with in the after school program.
Gotcha.
So so this is the origins of who and what I came from before I came to the internet. Me and Pops just didn't have the structure that the Hope Forum had. And so since I became in this position, one of my biggest supports that I wanted to do was support Teagan in the Hope Forum over here. So that's why I brought you here, because I want to shine a light on what they do. So that's a big light right there.
Gotcha.
Yeah, Hope Farm's been around, incorporated in 1990.
Yeah.
So we've been around for a while and been through some things. And like he said, Noble and Gary, our 2 founders, really did a great job of spreading the word about this program. The 2 buildings y'all drove down between used to be crack houses.
Wow.
And there's some pictures of them right here. They were overgrown. They took them over.
Those were the houses?
Those were the houses that you guys drove down between.
Damn. So what do they do out of these houses?
So now we purchased them, and those are...
So you bought the houses to make them not crack houses?
Yeah, and that's where Hope Farm started.
Got it.
And then slowly we've taken over this whole city block, including the gym, which we're going to head to in a second, probably about 12 years ago.
Gotcha.
About 12 years ago.
Damn. So how did you guys come up with the funding to get all the houses and...
Yeah, so the first, we got a $100,000 grant, and that's when those first 2 buildings were purchased.
Nice.
Gary also played hoops at TCU, which is right up the street.
Yeah.
So he knew a lot of people.
Yeah.
He had a lot of connections from TCU, and then from being a law enforcement officer, a lot of connections. And to this day, if I go anywhere in this town with the Hope Farm shirt, people recognize it. I went to school this morning. I went on a school visit, and the lady that was the receptionist used to be a principal at a middle school here, and she's like, "Hey, I know Hope Farm."
Yeah.
That's great.
And she's done it for years.
That's
yeah,
great.
it's awesome. It's awesome. But I want to know how do y'all get connected?
It's actually kind of weird. Oh man, how did we meet? Man, I love.
Oh man, he had been sending me messages in my inbox. And so when I looked at him, he looked like a weird white kid. So I'm saying, man, what this white dude want with me? So I don't know who he is. I don't have a clue who this kid is. I don't know how big he is. So kind of like how you guys don't. Y'all don't know. Y'all don't have a clue the magnitude of who he was. So when I met him, I had no idea who he was. A situation happened.
You said you knew me though.
Well, I knew of you, but the magnitude of who AdinRoss was, right? Yeah, I didn't have a clue, man, until afterward because I didn't know about streaming. So when I met him, he introduced me. As we was walking through the mall, I saw how many children gravitated to him. He saw how many older people recognized me. So I was like, man, this is a
Where are you guys?
We was in Vegas.
In Vegas.
We was in Vegas.
Yeah.
And so I'm saying to myself, man, this could break some barriers. This could break a lot of racial barriers. This could bridge gaps. This could change the narrative. This radical 40-some-year-old black dude with this young white Jewish kid, and we seem opposites, and we have a great chemistry, and we connected instantly. So we had a situation to come up, and I'm thinking, man, they playing on me, but it was just a misunderstanding, and we was able to work past it and overcome it. But while we had fallen out, I swore that I would never do nothing else with this little white dude. But as I'm traveling throughout the country, I'm going through the Chitlin circuit doing comedy shows. And I got kids in the high school saying, "Oh, what's up with you and Adin, man? Oh, man, y'all need to." So I'm saying, man, the hood black kids know about this dude? Yeah, so a light came on. And I figured we benefit way more working together than working against each other.
See, that's what people need to do sometimes, though. Put pride and ego aside, come together, and figure out what went wrong.
A lot of people can't do that.
They can't do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if everyone did that,
A lot of people are too proud and won't do it, but you're right, because it's for the greater good.
Yeah, and I made some public statements that I vowed and swore to the public, but that's lack of understanding, and that's pride in a way too, though. You know what I'm saying? But to see our youth, the attention that he have, the hearts, the minds, and the ears of our youth. How can you deny that? And you work with youth, right? He does a lot for me just like I do for him. So.
yeah, we do a lot for each other.
No, that's awesome. And that's what I tell people about dealing with the kids here that we're about to meet. You know, I go out, I do a lot of visits, I talk to a lot of people, a lot of businesses in town, but it's really about getting out here and meeting these kids. It's not about me.
Yeah.
You know, I grew up a military brat.
Oh, yeah.
I was on base. Life wasn't hard.
Yeah.
And these kids, man, so I can't really relate to them, you know?
Yeah.
So someone from different walks of life, like y'all talked about, and not only just the age difference, but total different walks of life coming together for a greater good.
Yeah.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
That's powerful, man.
So.
The good thing about this program, I'll say when it started, is getting the parents involved. And a lot of times, especially back then, the things that kids were seeing in this neighborhood it's just not normal. But the parents were also using their kids to do crime because they wouldn't get the punishment that the parents would get.
Yeah.